Hi, this is David McCann for WebTNG. In this video, I'm looking at the top 20 add-ons for Gutenberg, that is block collections. I compiled my list by spending several hours going through the list of plugins in order by number of active installs, and I don't think I missed any, but it's possible. So if you see that I missed an important block plugin that should be in the top 20, please let me know. Okay, now about these top 20, one thing I'll tell you is that most of them have support for dynamic data, but not all of them. So I'll have something to say about the ones with support for dynamic data and not much to say about the others. But even just going through the list, I think we'll see some patterns and some interesting things about the top 20 that we can talk about in the discussion and conclusions. Okay, so getting started, coming in at number 1 is Spectra from Brainstorm Force. It has 500,000 plus active installs. It was originally named Ultimate Add-ons for Gutenberg. You can see that it has 857 5-star reviews, which is a lot. And it's got 54 out of 81 support issues resolved. So the team is active in support. Now, Spectra is part of a whole ecosystem. There's the Astra theme and the Spectra 1 theme. Okay, Astra is the #1 general purpose classic theme in all of WordPress with more than 1 million active installs. Spectra 1 is their new block-based theme. And when you have a deep integration between the block plugin and the theme, you get extra juice. You get, for example, your theme colors and typography and other styles are integrated. So what you select, for example, with Astra in the customizer carries over into the Gutenberg editor, and that makes it a lot easier to have style consistency. That's a strength of Spectra, that it's in this ecosystem. And there are other tools in this ecosystem also that support Spectra. There's what used to be called Astra starter sites. I think it might be called now starter templates or something like that. It also has more than 1 million active installs. And some of those starter sites are for Beaver Builder and Elementor, but there are also some for Gutenberg. And that would be where they would include Spectra blocks in those. And with all their products, they have cross promotion. So no doubt that helps to spread the word about Spectra and contribute to its popularity. But it's not just cross-promotion. They recently just introduced Spectra Pro. Okay, and it has good support for dynamic data. It supports ACF and Metabox and Toolset. It works well in the site editor. So Spectra has a lot going for it. Now, Spectra Pro was teased for almost a year, and Astra Pro still doesn't have a theme builder like the other top general purpose classic themes. So the team has been kind of slow in completing the offering. So for that reason, I'm keeping my eye on Spectra and Spectra Pro just to see how it finishes out. If, for example, they do a really great job in Theme Builder with Spectra Pro and integration with Astra, then that could make a huge difference. But if they don't do as good a job as like Cadence or GenerateBlocks or Neve, then that would be a different story. So I am keeping my eye on Spectra and don't have a final opinion, although what's there now is very strong. Okay, this is the Spectra Pro website. Like I said, they just recently released Spectra Pro, and they just, even more recently, have the pricing for Spectra Pro. You can see it's available for 1, 10, or 1,000 sites, annual or lifetime. Okay, they have it standalone. They have it with Astra and starter templates. And they also have an option which includes Project Huddle, Ensure Writer, and Skilljet Academy. So kind of an interesting package there. Now you can also go to the Astra website, and Spectra Pro is available in the Growth Bundle, the high-end Growth Bundle. So there are several ways to get the Pro version. So that's Spectra. Now if we go to number 2, number 2 is CoBlocks. CoBlocks is a well-rounded general purpose block collection. It's from GoDaddy. It's been around for a long time, has 400,000 active installs. It has 75 5-star reviews, 3 out of 9 support issues resolved. I think it's a good block collection from what I know of it, but it's from GoDaddy, and I believe it's included in a number of their hosting options. So that cross-promotion may be one of the reasons that there's so many active installs. There's no pro version. There's no support for dynamic data. So that's all I have to say about it. If we go to number 3, we have Cadence Blocks, and I have a lot to say about Cadence. Okay, Cadence Blocks was one of the first block collections to come out even before Gutenberg was added to Core. But even though it's been around for a long time, the developer has made it a point to keep it updated and to periodically modernize it. It is a little bit different. It does have the kind of basic blocks that people expect from a block collection, but also the blocks in it are kind of curated maybe a little bit more than some of the others. And what Cadence tries to do, I believe, is to hit that sweet spot between being easy to use, like easy enough to use for a client, but also being flexible and powerful enough to cover the needs of a lot of site builders. The Cadence Blocks has 300,000 plus active installs. It has 132 5-star reviews and 7 out of 30 support issues resolved. The Pro version has support for dynamic data. It supports ACF and Metabox and Toolset. If you use the Pro blocks with the Cadence Pro theme, you have that theme builder, which is what's missing from Astra, the classic offering from Brainstorm. And the Cadence theme builder is pretty easy to use, doesn't take a rocket scientist or a developer to use, and it allows you to create custom templates, not only for posts and pages, but also for custom post types and to display your custom fields. So I think it's a really good offering. You can see you can get the block standalone annual or in the bundle annual, but there's also a full bundle. A couple of things to point out. In the full bundle, not only do you get the Blocks Pro and the Theme Pro, you get some Pro Starter templates. You get Cadence Cloud, which is a way that you can share your templates across your sites if you have some that you use on multiple sites. There are also designers who use Cadence who are selling their templates using Cadence Cloud. So you can connect to their offering, buy access to those templates and use them in your sites. Some of them are very attractive. Another very cool feature of the Cadence offering is that they have a WooCommerce shop kit. And these are Gutenberg blocks that you can use to build out your WooCommerce store pages. You get a lot in that full bundle. The full bundle is also available on lifetime for $6.99. I am a fan of Cadence. My WebTNG website is built using Cadence Theme Pro and Cadence Blocks Pro. I think it's a great solution for a blog and for something that's even more sophisticated. I don't think that the Cadence blocks are the absolute, most powerful offering in terms of dynamic data. But when you get to those more powerful offerings, you're also dealing with a lot more complexity. And you move into a territory where you have to be a power user or developer, and clients can't make heads or tails of it. Now, if we move to number 4, it's Otter Blocks from Theme Isle. Otter Blocks has 300,000 active installs, 142 5-star reviews, and 10 out of 16 support issues have been resolved. A curious thing about Theme Isle is that they present themselves, I think, as being the underdog. The scrappy, let's do what it takes to get a sale and please the customer. And I think that's great. But Theme Isle has not one, but 2 themes in the top 10 classic themes, Neve and Hestia themes. And they have 3 or 4 themes that are in the top 20 block-based themes. Theme Isle is one of the premier theme shops, and they created Otter Blocks for use with their themes, but they work with any themes. They also work very well in the full site editor. So when you go for Otter Blocks, like I say, here's Neve and Hestia. When you go for Otter Blocks, you get support for dynamic data. And these are the packages they have for 1, 5, and unlimited sites. Theme Isle presents themselves as kind of the underdog, and along that theme, I think they are a little bit under-recognized and appreciated. But here they are at number 4 in top 20 list of Gutenberg add-ons. No doubt the cross-promotion with their themes plays a role in their success. Number 5 is GenerateBlocks. This block collection is different than any other block collection in this list. The approach with GenerateBlocks is that it's a more minimalist offering. We're used to 20, 30, 40, 80 blocks in these block collections. The free version of GenerateBlocks has a container, a grid, a headline for text and headings, button, a query loop, and an image block, and that's it. And the idea is that you can build most of your content with these, using them as building blocks. And you know, a lot of the Gutenberg add-ons have things like they have an icon box, or they have hero section, or a testimonial. Those are composites that could be built up if you wanted to. GenerateBlocks has 100,000 active installs, 99 5-star reviews, 13 out of 20 support issues resolved. And there is also a pro version of GenerateBlocks. Okay, now GenerateBlocks is made by the same developer who makes the GeneratePress theme, also one of the top 10 classic themes. And so, as you might expect, there is that deep integration with the theme, and you can use GenerateBlocks with the GeneratePress Pro theme builder to create custom templates for your site. Okay, so you have extra goodness from the integration. When you add the Pro version of GenerateBlocks, you do get a couple more blocks. You get an accordion block and a tab block, okay, in addition to these other features. And GenerateBlocks is available $39 a year for one site, $69 for 10, and $99 for 250 sites. This is, I think, a high-quality solution, and it's popular with power users and developers and designers who want to have that minimal approach and bring their own styles and CSS to the sites. So that helps to explain some of its popularity, I think. Okay, coming in at number 6 is a surprise. It's Essential Blocks from WP Developer. You may not have heard of it before. They make a very popular Elementor add-on, Essential Add-ons for Elementor, that has more than 1 million active installs. And this one has kind of creeped up, has more than 100,000 active installs, 84 5-star reviews, 12 out of 18 support issues have been resolved. Okay, it's another one of these well-rounded block collections. They just came out with a Pro version. The Pro version has limited dynamic data support. Okay, it supports the native WordPress fields, like post title, featured image, post content, and so on, but not custom fields. It's kind of limited. Like I said, it's brand new. And so this is another one that I'm keeping my eye on before I really make up my mind about it. But I was happy to see that they are working on a Pro version. Coming in now at number 7 is Stackable Blocks. Stackable Blocks is another one that's been around for a while. They have, I think, more than 40 blocks. An interesting thing about Stackable is that the free version includes all the blocks, and the Pro version adds extra features, like dynamic data is one of them. Stackable was one of the first teams to get it when it comes to composite blocks or building up blocks using the components available in their own add-on. An advantage of that is that they're very flexible and you have a lot of control over customization and styling. They have 80,000 active installs. So you notice how we're dropped from 500,000 with Spectra down to 80,000 now. So the numbers are going down kind of quickly. 364 5-star reviews, which is a good number, and 5 out of 10 support issues resolved. Stackable has Stackable Pro. So Stackable does have a Pro version. It has integration with ACF, MetaBox, Jet Engine, and Toolset. They also have a special integration with Blocksy theme. Blocksy is a good pairing for Stackable. I think the teams kind of co-promote each other. But Stackable has been on AppSumo twice now. I wonder why they don't have more active installs than they do. And I suspect that maybe one reason is because they don't have their own theme. They've been talking about having their own theme for a while. I don't know if that's the reason, but I think you can imagine if you're using, say, Cadence or Astra, your default would be to use the tools from the same vendor. But Stackable is a very solid option, and they have good support for dynamic data. And their blocks work in the site editor. Then we come to number 8, and this is Genesis Blocks from Studio Press. Genesis Blocks were not developed natively by Studio Press. What they did is they purchased Atomic Blocks, another block add-on, and they forked that, named the fork Genesis Blocks. They do have a Pro version, but it's available only as part of the overall Studio Press package. Doesn't support dynamic data. It's a general purpose block collection. Genesis Blocks has 80,000 active installs. It has 12 5-star reviews and 3 out of 5 support issues resolved. There is cross promotion, I think, with WP Engine, who's the owner of Studio Press, offering this in some of their hosting plans. Then coming in at number 9 is Gitwid. They have 50,000 active installs, 96 5-star reviews, and 4 out of 14 support issues resolved. This is another kind of general purpose block collection. I think it was more popular back in the day before dynamic data became more of a standard offering in Pro versions. Gitwid doesn't have a Pro version, but what they have is a block that's like a custom post type template block. And that allows you to show some limited custom fields for custom post types. So I think that got some people's attention back before we really had much support for custom post types in Gutenberg blocks. Then number 10 is Ultimate Blocks. I think they have a theme, they have a Pro version, no dynamic data support. I think it has a good general purpose block collection. Has 50,000 active installs, 563 5-star reviews, 3 out of 10 support issues resolved. Next, we have the Gutentor block collection, 50,000 active installs. See, it hasn't been updated for 9 months. That's one of the longest without an update that we've seen so far. 73 5-star reviews, no support issues resolved in the last 2 months. There is a Pro version, but it does not support dynamic data. And after this, then we go to number 12, which is Publish Press Blocks, another kind of general purpose block collection. It's a little bit different than some of the others in that Publish Press is kind of a suite of plugins that seem to be targeted towards publishers, people who are needing to administer and manage the publication process, maybe sites with multiple authors where you need special permissions and things like that. They do have a Pro version. They don't have support for dynamic data. These blocks have 30,000 plus active installs, 161 5-star reviews, and 6 out of 7 support issues resolved. Okay, number 13 is PostX. PostX came out a while ago, and when it first came out, it was really focused on archive type views or listings and masonry and grid type layouts. Some of them have simple category front end filters. They have a fair amount of styling options. And so it was a really good solution for magazine types of sites. They added a custom archive builder, which works pretty well. And over time, they've tried to make it more of a general purpose block collection than it used to be. They have just recently released a theme builder, but it only supports the native WordPress fields, not custom fields. I know that custom fields is on their roadmap, but it's not there yet. Okay, it has 30,000 active installs, 145 star reviews, 16 out of 17 support issues resolved, which is very good. This is their website for the Pro version. You can see they've got a sale going. They're very active in adding features, and every time they add a new feature, they celebrate it with a sale. So they do have a lot of sales. PostX is available for yearly and lifetime, and it's 1, 5, or unlimited domains. They also have some other products. They have Product X, which is their block add-on for WooCommerce. And they have Wholesale X, which is also for WooCommerce. But those are tools for people who want to have wholesale offerings for kind of more business-to-business type of deals. Okay, so that's PostX. It's a solid option, but it's also one that I'm kind of keeping my eye on because I'm waiting for that support for the custom fields. Then there's Gutenverse. They have a pro version, but no support for dynamic data. Jeg Studio has a number of classic themes that they sell. Gutenverse is kind of their Gutenberg brand, I guess. They have some very stylish block-based themes in the top tier of the list of block-based themes. So their block plugin is made to integrate with their block-based themes. They're very stylish. It has 30,000 active installs, 98 5-star reviews, 22 out of 58 support issues resolved. Okay, the next block plugin is Add-on Blocks. Remember, I mentioned that the Genesis team, they purchased Add-on Blocks and forked it to make Genesis Blocks. This has not been updated for 3 years, but it's still got 20,000 active installs. So this is not one I would recommend anybody use. I don't know if these are zombie sites or what, but it's interesting that even after 3 years, they have 20,000 active installs. Anyway, this is Atomic Blocks, which is number 15. Number 16 is Key Blocks. Very stylish block collection. They have a pro version, no dynamic data support. I think they have some pre-designed templates that they sell also. So kind of interesting for the stylishness of their offering, but no dynamic data. They have 20,000 active installs, 3 5-star reviews, 2 out of 2 support issues resolved. Coming in at number 17 is Greenshift. Wow. Greenshift is unlike any other offering in this list. Remember how I mentioned GenerateBlocks as being kind of unique and of interest to developers? Well, Greenshift has extensive support for dynamic data. This is their free plugin, which is like a base plugin. It has a lot of support for animations. You can see it has 20,000 active installs, 41 5-star reviews, 31 out of 41 support issues resolved. It only has 20,000 active installs. It's number 17. I really feel like this deserves a much higher place because of all of the block collections in the list. Greenshift is the most innovative. They are bringing things and doing things to the Gutenberg blocks that most others aren't doing. Okay, they have a free Greenshift block-based theme, and their blocks work great in the site editor. They also work great with classic themes. What they do is they have this base plugin, and then Greenshift has several other plugins. They have an animation plugin, they have an SEO plugin, a query plugin, a chart add-on, and a WooCommerce add-on. And each of these add a bunch of blocks for that target purpose. I think overall the animation and the dynamic data features, what's in the query add-on, I think those are its strongest points. Altogether, they have a large number of blocks. You can buy these add-on extra plugins in small bundles, or there's an all-in-one package. That's what I have. Like I said, I'm very impressed with the Greenshift team. The developers are very active in their Facebook group, and they have some good training materials in their YouTube channel. So Greenshift is another one. It's paradoxically the most powerful one in the list, but also perhaps a little bit hard to use because their blocks have so many options. It can be hard to figure out sometimes. I do know that they're looking to optimize and make those options more coherent. They just released a whole bunch of visual builders inside of Gutenberg so that you can adjust a lot of the settings visually using your mouse, drag and drop, and just see the changes there. That's kind of one of the innovation type things that I was mentioning. Okay, it has support for ACF, it has support for MetaBox, has support for Jet Engine, it has support for pods, it has support for Toolset. Because they have so many blocks, I think they're trying to maybe also appeal to people who just want to create blog content as well as to people who need those dynamic data features. The pricing for Greenshift, by the way, is they have annual and lifetime pricing. As I said, they have these different packs. They have annual, lifetime pricing, okay? This is the Greenshift offering number 17. Number 18 is Quibly blocks from Themium. When they first came out, Quibly was recognized as having a good wow factor. Their blocks were very stylish. They got a lot of attention early on. They had an AppSumo offering. I really liked what they were doing. Themium has a number of other plugins and themes. And unfortunately, the management of Themium decided that Quibly wasn't growing as fast as they thought it should. So they pulled developers from this team and put them on other teams. And that turned out, I think, to be a self-fulfilling prophecy because Quibly is the only block collection. It has 10,000 active installs now. It used to have 20,000. It's one of the only ones in the whole list going downhill, losing active installs. 44 5-star reviews and 2 out of 2 support issues resolved. They do have a pro version. Right now, it's not one that I'd recommend. Maybe they'll turn it around at some point. Okay, number 19 is Ghost Kit. This is another general purpose block collection. Has 8,000 active installs, 28 5-star reviews, 1 out of 1 support issue resolved. I think it means to be kind of general purpose, multi-purpose. Has a pro version, but no support for dynamic data. And then last, coming in at number 20 is Gutenbee. Gutenbee has 7,000 active installs, 13 5-star reviews, 1 out of 1 support issue resolved. This is from the CCS Igniter team. They're very talented designers. Their themes are more niche themes. I think they started out with a lot of support for Elementor, and they have some Elementor add-on, but they created this, I think, for their users, make good use of the editor for their content. This is a nice block collection. It's low-key, there's no pro version, but it's solid. They're good developers. So that is the lightning tour of the top 20 Gutenberg block collections. There are a few comments, there is some discussion, and some conclusions. This isn't just a popularity contest. I know that some people are going to look at the numbering and say, my favorite wasn't number 1 or wasn't high enough on the list, and it deserves to be. And I totally agree that it's not always the one that has the most active installs, because as we see, some of them have that cross-promotion advantage. But I do think that over time, the better ones tend to rise to the top. Popularity is just one factor when you go to pick a block collection. It's not the only one, because you should also look at the support. Are the developers supporting their offerings? And we saw that most of the popular ones here are getting good support and are updated regularly. So I think that might be the key in this niche. Another thing, of course, you look at is the pricing. Does that work for you? Some of these have lifetime options, some don't. You look at the developers. What kind of reputation do they have? Is it solid? You look at the ecosystem. Do they have themes? Do they have other things like templates or other tools that work together with them? All in all, the number of active installs, I think, is a legitimate factor, but it's one among several. If the block collection isn't gaining traction over time, that could be a warning flag that it's not being supported well, it's got a lot of bugs, or just in general that the developer isn't going to be able to make a go of it to support it long term. So that's another way that keeping an eye on the number of active installs makes sense. With that out of the way, like I said, this isn't just a popularity contest. Some of the conclusions or patterns that I noticed, one is that I was kind of surprised that the numbers aren't higher. We hear a lot how popular Gutenberg is and how many posts are created using Gutenberg. We have all the classic themes which have millions and hundreds of thousands of active installs. But when we look at the numbers for the block collections, we start at a good number, fairly good number, 500,000 active installs, but boy, does that number go down pretty fast as we work down the list. All the way down until just 7,000 active installs when we get to number 20. So that was one thing. I was kind of surprised that there weren't more installs. Maybe a lot of people are just using the default core blocks, but maybe that's an insight into the Gutenberg ecosystem. Now, there are probably some block collections which are missing from the list because they don't have a free offering. And the one that comes to mind there is Quibly. We don't really know how many active installs Quibly has, but it's certainly very powerful, as powerful, more powerful than any of the others in this group, but then again, it's premium only. As we were going through the list, I did mention that there were some, and I think you probably saw it in my enthusiasm, there were some that I was pretty big on and that I kind of prioritized, maybe because of my fondness or my interest in dynamic data features, but those were Cadence, GenerateBlocks, and Greenshift. Those three are the ones that stand out to me. Then if we go, the ones that I said that I was keeping an eye on, Spectra, very high quality, has a lot of features, good dynamic data support, but like I said, I'm looking to see how they finish out the offering with their theme builder. I mentioned Stackable, which still doesn't have their own theme. I mentioned PostX, which doesn't have support for custom fields yet. Okay, but even if we take that group, the ones I'm really excited about, the ones that I'm watching, those block plugins there, they are so much clearly head and shoulders above all the rest in the list. It was something that I was surprised to see. When you look at themes, sometimes there's a lot of kind of subjectivity. How much difference do these features make? You might not use them, blah, blah, blah. But I really feel like almost a night and day difference in the block collections here. That is probably my dynamic data bias showing through, I'll admit it, but that's the way that I see it. Wrapping up here, I learned some things myself by going through and compiling this list and looking at the various offerings. I hope you got something out of this video also. If you did, I would appreciate it if you gave it a thumbs up, and if you subscribe to the channel, it really makes a difference. There is a text version of this video with links to all of the different options, and you can see the list kind of right there. That's available on the WebTNG website. Thanks a lot for watching.